Hi there, Trevor here. I'm just going to go over virtual switches in Hyper-V. There are three types: external, internal, and private. External allows you to communicate between virtual adapters connected to virtual machines and the management operating system. It uses a single or team physical adapters to connect to physical switches, allowing communication with other systems. So, this isn't the best way to show, but you see here I have my Ethernet here, and here under my network connections I have my V Ethernet. I have an internal switch, I have a LAN, which is an external Ethernet adapter that allows connection to the internet and other systems, and I have a private switch which you don't see. So here in the Hyper-V manager under switch manager, so there's my private switch there. Private switch only allows communication between virtual adapters connected to virtual machines. An internal switch only allows communication between the host and virtual machines on the same network. So we're going to demonstrate that right now. So here I have a Windows 7 VM. I have it connected to the LAN network, and as you saw in the Virtual Switch Manager, the LAN is an external network. I'm allowing the management operating system to share this network adapter with that, because if I had another network adapter, I could define one for the management operating system and for the VMs. So we'll just start up the virtual machine here. Just take a minute. Okay, so that's up. So, demonstration here. My server address is 250. You see, I can get to google.com. And I have internet, and now I'm just going to do a simple command and ping my network address or my name. Should be able to do my name. And the name of my machine here is 4790K. and I'm getting IPv6 address with the response. So you can see my host, it can see my host, and my host what's my IP address here? Is .33. And I'm getting a timeout, but I do have Windows Firewall on, and by default it blocks, obviously, and now that I've disabled the firewall, I can ping. So we'll just leave that off for now. And we're going to shut down and go to an internal network. Now the internal network on the virtual switch allows communication between the virtual adapters and the management operating system. So when I change this adapter, I should not get any internet access. Here, we'll also put a Linux VM on the same network. Okay, so I have it on internal switch. No virtual LAN identification because we're not using any VLANs. So let's start that up. This will just take a minute. Okay, so my Windows machine finally shut down here, and my Linux machine is up. So I'm going to change the Windows machine to the internal switch, which is also what my Linux VM is on. Let's verify IP addresses. So I'm just going to open up console and do an ifconfig. Wants me to sudo ifconfig. Okay, so I have an IPv6 address and no IPv4 address. Okay, so I tried to just ping the internal network address, and it came up with nothing. So I want to now make a change to the network settings. Where is that? Well, we'll leave this for a minute here. Our Windows 7 VM. Because it doesn't recognize the host, but we don't have an IP4 address either. So where is that network? There we are, network interfaces. Have a 127 address. On LO. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign I'm going to do ifconfig 0 and then my IP address. I'll make this 1.3. And don't forget the sudo. So you can see now I have a 1.3 address, and here in Windows you can see I have a little error. I'm going to bring up the command prompt. So it's saying that I have no internet, and if I try to get out, it should fail. And I have a statically signed IP address right now. So let's just change that. There we go. So you can see I have no internet. And I have no IP address. So what I'm going to do is assign this 1.4 1.1. Okay. So now that I have that IP address, 1.4 on getting a network is unreachable. Oh, because I'm missing a 1. It's pretty important. There we go. So I can get to 1.3. Oh, 1.3 is itself. I want 1.4. And there we go. 1.4 talks to Windows here. And this one here, I want 1.3. And look at that. I have a full setup. And now, if I want to add the host to this, where's that? So I want control panel. I want network. Internal switch. We'll make this one 1.2. So I have a 1.2 on my internal network. You can see that. I can access my host. And the thing is, if I remove the IP address from the virtual switch to just allow it all manually without it being configured, I'm not going to be a very happy person, because I have no way of telling the computer that you're on this network. So, to recap, on the internal network, VMs can talk to each other and they can talk to the host. Now for the private network, I'm going to shut these down again. And we'll stay with our one dot network. For this, make it a private switch. Now, you can use this with the VLAN, so you would have a virtual switch with a VLAN tagged or untagged. Probably have a whole bunch of VLANs, so it'll be tagged. And then you would enable virtual switch identification and put your number for your VLAN there. You would just have to make sure it's set up properly on your switch. And where's this one? Right, private mode. So private switch is assigned to there. And we'll make that private switch. Okay. So we're starting up our virtual machines. This will take a minute. Okay, so we're on our private network here, and you can see we still have our 1.4. Now we should be able to talk. So I'll have to just create the IP4 address. Okay, so let's ping. No, I want ping. Okay, so that one's all configured. And let's get the host. Yeah, you can see I don't have access to the private switch here. But I can talk to .3, which is .3, which is this guy here, and this guy. Here can ping 1.4, so we verified the internal. The private network works properly. The internal network works properly, and the external virtual switch works properly, exactly as advertised. So, thanks for joining me for this tutorial, and see you later. Oh, if you liked the tutorial, please hit the like button. Feel free to share it as well.